Hey everyone, welcome to Love to Create by Tonya. Today I'm going to be working on some of our Valentine's Day decor, and I found some really pretty pieces of the cardstock paper again. We're going to be using this, and we're going to be using one of the placemats from, I think I found this one at Dollar Tree. And then I've got a couple of the little wood hearts that we're going to use. And we're actually going to be making a frame out of some of these little wine corks today. But let's go ahead and get started and see how this one turns out. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take one of these 12 by 16 canvas boards. And I'm just going to apply my placemat to the board with a glue stick. I do have to trim off just a little bit of the sides of it to make it fit. You just want to be real careful that you don't cut too much off because the lettering on this one seems to go almost to the edge. Now at first I thought that I was going to take some of the wine corks and just glue around the edges, and then I was going to paint them with that brown truffle chalk paint. But then I decided that I was going to use those to actually make some of the birch tree branches. And that way I could put that around the frame. And I can't wait for you to see how this is done. I had done some larger logs. Some of you might have watched that video. It was a couple years ago, and they turned out great. And you could actually use a dowel rod or even maybe a paper towel holder to do this. It might be a little larger, but these little wine corks worked great, and I had them in my craft box and I wanted to use them up. But what I'm doing is just hot gluing them together, and I just want to get them the width of my placemat, and then I'm just going to place them on there until it builds a frame around. And you could actually build 2 layers of the branches around there if you wanted to, but the size that these came out, I really liked the way it looked, and I'm actually going to use my picture as a shelf sitter this time instead of hanging it on the wall. Now once you get all of your sticks glued together, you just want to take some of the either tissue paper, paper towel, or a napkin. And I like to use those thin napkins that you pick up at Dollar Tree. It seems like they go on a lot better, and I like the way they crinkle around the wine corks, and it just kind of gives that look of a branch with the little crinkles and lines in it. And this is a real simple way to do this. You just take a glue stick and cover your wine corks really well, and then I'm really gently just going over a few places to seal that napkin onto the stick. And these glue sticks that I pick up at Dollar Tree, I like them because the glue seems kind of creamy and it works really well for this design. Now I am going to apply a heavy coat of the glue stick all over the wine corks, and it will make the napkin seem a little bit wet, but that's okay because we're going to actually go right on top of this and apply our first coat of paint, and in between each layer of paint we'll be drying it with the heat gun, or you can use a hair dryer. But you can see I'm taking that glue stick and just sealing around all of the edges so they'll lay down. And as long as you're applying really gentle strokes with that you won't tear the tissue at all. And you could actually apply 2 or 3 layers of the napkins or tissue to this, and it would just make your branches seem a little bit thicker. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some gloves on for this part, and you may want to also because it does get a little bit messy. But I'm going to take some of that Waverly truffled color chalk paint, and I'm going to mix just a little bit of water in through it just to thin it out a little bit to help it go on the napkin a little bit easier. Because you really don't want a really dark coat of this on. You just want to get this dark undertone color to show through when we apply the layer of white chalk paint. Now you will want to dry each layer of paint before you apply the next coat. Especially dry this brown layer really well, because you only want little bits of that brown showing through, and that will help give the effect of the birch tree look. And I love my little heat gun. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested in one of those. Now, as I'm applying that chalk paint, you can see I'm just kind of dragging it quickly across there, and it's leaving just enough of that brown showing through that it's really making those start to look like branches. And it's hard to believe after you get them covered that there's wine corks underneath there. And you can put as many layers of the white paint on. I do go back and add just a little bit more throughout each one of the branches just to make it a little brighter in places. And you do want to make sure after you get your final layer of the white paint on to dry that really, really well, because you're going to be using a black marker to put your little lines and little nudges and marks in there to make that birch tree effect. Now when you start applying your little lines and little nudges and marks in here, you just want to go into some of those little creases and folds that you'll see when you make yours that the tissue or the napkin causes to happen. And then I'm really gently working through there and almost like little scribbles. And you do want to make sure you do some of them like straight across, because you know when you look at a birch tree they kind of have those little straight lines. And you can put as few or as many of these little lines as you want. And you can see the more I add, the more it starts looking like a birch tree branch. Well, everyone, I hope that you're enjoying this DIY, and I hope that you might give this one a try. You'll have to let me know in the comments below what you think of this one, and if you're going to try to make some of your own little birch tree branches. And these would also look good if you just wanted to get a glass vase and pop those in there, or you might want to put them in a basket and lay them in sideways. There's several different things you can do with these, and I love the size of these. And you can see they're really starting to look like the branches now. Well, now I'm just going to go ahead and figure out how I want to place these around my picture, and I'm just going to use hot glue for this. And if you're worried about them staying, you can always use the Gorilla hot glue, but I haven't had any problem with these attaching to the canvas board. But I think this is such a fun and simple design and a really easy way to make just a cute picture that you can either hang on the wall or just set up on a shelf. Now I decide that I don't really like the light color tone of the branches against the writing, so I take a little bit of my white chalk paint and I just kind of go over the words just to brighten them up just a little bit, but that's personal preference. You don't have to do that, or you could actually make them a different color if you like. But I love how this is turning out. I hope you do. Now you can see where I'm adding that white paint in there, and I just think that that adds to the effect of the little birch branches being the frame of this picture. Now after we get our letters brightened up with the white chalk paint, I decided to add a couple of the little wood hearts for Valentine's Day. And I'm just going to apply them with some of those little stickers that you can purchase from Dollar Tree. And they're like a double-sided tape. And the reason why I did that, with that placemat being plastic, you'll be able to remove these, and then if you would like to add maybe some of the little wood leaves for fall, or some of the bells for Christmas, or maybe even a little wreath up there. I just love that this design is going to be able to follow through all of the seasons in your home decor. Now I found this cardstock paper at Hobby Lobby, and this one I did get recently, and I just love that. It's just has that springy Eastery look, and I think it's just working perfect for the Valentine's Day decor. And I'm just gonna pop a couple of those right above the word home, and I think it made just a sweet and simple little design. Now I always like to take my black marker and go around the edges of the paper just a little bit, just to kind of age it and darken it. It feels like it makes it stand out a little bit more. And I started just to put the one heart on there, and then I remembered I had a smaller one, and so I just decided to add that with it. Now here's those little double-sided sticker tapes, and they work great. And like I said, you'll be able to stick that on there and just pull it off. And if you can't get it off really well, or some of the tape sticks, you can just use a little bit of Windex cleaner or something, and it'll clean right up because it's plastic. And I think that makes this design so fun that you can actually change it out and add different things. And I love just the one heart, but I had to add that second one. I just thought it was so cute. And of course, I just applied the paper to the little wood heart with the glue stick again. Well, we're just going to place our second little heart on there, and we're pretty much going to call this one done. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this DIY. I am actually going to use mine as a shelf sitter, but you could attach any kind of hanger to the back of this. I would just use like a Gorilla Glue or maybe some E6000. But I think I am going to definitely put this one on my shelf. And what I love about this one is you are going to be able to use it throughout the year. Little hearts, because I use those sticky tabs on there. You're going to be able to remove those. You could put some leaves up here for the fall season, and then maybe some little Christmas bells or wreaths for the Christmas season. But right now, for Valentine's Day, I think I'm going to be leaving this one up for the summer and spring seasons. So you'll have to let me know in the comments below what you think of this one. I love doing these birch logs, and I had done a larger set of those a few years ago, and I'll leave a link to that video if you haven't already seen that one, so you can watch it. And one thing I will tell you, when you make these, I did use the wine corks because I am trying to use up some of the things I have in my craft box, but you could use the dowel rods, or you could use a paper towel holder, and actually the little cardboard piece. And the trick is to basically just wrap them in some light tissue paper or paper towel or napkin. I do like to use something that's a little bit thinner. It seems like it works better, but you always want to put that darker brown on first, then the white. And sometimes I will use a little Mod Podge. I didn't have to this time. And then just make your little black marks, and it will come out looking just like a birch limb. Well, everyone, I hope you love our little Home is Where the Heart Is, and you'll have to let me know in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you consider doing so. And I will see you on the next one.